Alright, welcome back to another video. Headstart for Black Desert Line has started, but for those of us that are not yet in it, like me, gotta wait till Tuesday. Here are my top 10 starting tips for Black Desert Online. Number one, talk to everyone. I know this is on a lot of other lists, but this is important because later on in the game, you're going to hit level 50 and you're going to be like talking to someone and you want to go in a conversation and you have no knowledge about him. This is a serious tip, guys, because you're going to talk to people and you're going to realize, oh, there's this thing, like if you increase their enmity towards you, you get like quests, you get more knowledge, you get more unlocks, you get explore conversations. It's just super important when you talk to people. So do it. So there's different markers on your mini map to tell you what's a quest, what's a completed quest, what's someone waiting to complete a quest, and what's some people that are there, some NPCs that you can talk to. So white question mark, NPCs to talk to. Yellow exclamation point, that's gonna be a quest. And if you got one of those blue circle arrow line thingies, that means someone's waiting for you to return something or talk to them or and click something else to further on the quest. And a red check mark is your completed quest. They're really confusing. It confused me when I started out, so just know what those icons are, mess around with them, and it doesn't hurt just to always check them all the time. So, but you want to pay attention to what the rewards to each of those quests are, and if they're on a quest chain. It'll tell you, it'll be like 1 out of 6 on top of the icon for the quest. It'll tell you if it's a quest chain or not, and those can lead to more and more rewards as you get more into it. And then for the rewards, you want to make sure that they're actually worth something. Some quests are not all equal to others. Some give you bag inventory slots, which are really good quests. Skill combat XP, and then some of them just don't give you anything. They'll give you hey, you can have this, but they're not that great. So pay attention to the rewards if you kind of like don't want to do all the quests, and pick and choose which ones you want to do. And tip number 2 is to explore. Don't just stay where the quest is going to go. Try to find all those nodes. Where is the next node manager going to be? You want to go out there and meet them because there's going to be other NPCs possibly there, and there's going to be more knowledge to get. You want all the knowledge. You want to get as much knowledge as you can so you don't have to do any backtracking later. And for all of your alts and all of your other characters, that knowledge is all going to stay the same. So you're going to just have a lot more wealth of information for your next future characters. So do it all on your first one. Take your time and have fun with it. Tip 3, try different classes. If you haven't played them all yet for the closed beta test, I recommend you still play a couple more classes to see which ones you like. I recommend playing the level 20 because that's when you'll get some cool skills unlocked. And I heard Warrior, you have to wait till like level 37 before it's any good. So it depends. How set are you on really wanting to play like a 30-year-old man dude, which I kind of want to, and I don't know. But you want to play all the classes. You want to make sure you're going to stick to the one you want because with all those other tips about finding knowledge and stuff, you're going to be playing this one character a lot. So you want to make sure it's a class you really like. Tip number 4, along with the previous tip, you want to experiment with the skill tree. You don't want to start putting a whole bunch of skill points into passives. You want to start exploring it a bit more because you're gonna get a skill reset at level 45. And so you want to at least know what your skills are, try different ones. You got to find those really big AoE spells. You'll get a couple of them or a few of them by level 20, and that's going to help you out a lot in leveling up. So go ahead and find the ones, and like maybe if there's like a skill that you can get that's only 8 skill points, but then you see another one that's 11, but that 11 one is AoE, you want to save it up and get that one instead. And then if you start to have excess skill points, you can go explore with the other ones. I really do recommend that you find those big AoE skills because that's going to really help you out later on once you start getting to the later parts of the game and you actually do have to start taking on like 10 mobs at a time consistently, and it's no longer like 1 or 2 or 3. It's you can start to have to do a lot more, and you want to be able to handle them really quickly. So read them and look at the animations and see if it's a skill that you think is going to be really awesome, and just try it out. So tip number 5 is on a lot of lists, but it's also really important. It's don't use your horse right away, especially because we're going to have them with a lot of these pre-orders. You're going to have that horse ready to go. You want to run more often than not. The more you run, the greater you level up your stamina, and that's going to be super important later on. Along the lines with stamina, any quest that you come up with that has food, or if you're going to be crafting food, buying food, start eating food because that's going to level up your health, and that's actually going to help you out as well. Tip number 6, you're going to be doing a lot of fishing and a lot of AFK fishing. But you got to remember, you got to sell that fish for it to be worth anything. So you want to pay attention to that trade manager. You want to go up to that trade manager and find out what nodes you need to be connected to for that fishing spot, so you can get the most profit you can possibly get. You don't want to be selling those fish for 30% of what they're worth. You want to be getting up to 110%, 120%, and get some bargain prices in there and really make a great profit. I mean, you can go from making only 100K to 400K depending if you're fishing in the right spot and you're connected to the nodes. So make sure when you're doing your AFK fishing and you want to come back a couple hours later that you're at least trading it to someone that's going to give you a really good price for it. Tip number 7 is alt city. You got to make some alts. All right, guys? Alts are amazing in this game. It's because there's no fast travel. So you want to have as many characters as you can possibly have and have them spread out. You probably want one in Velia just because that town for some reason is amazing, and you can making your beer over there for your workers, and it's just a fun town to always have a character in because there's always something going on there. And you, of course, you want one later on in the game in the capital city by that library in case you want to reset knowledge rather quickly because your knowledge is shared across all characters. So I really do recommend that while you're trying to find, in this previous step about trying out classes, start making a list of which one you're going to play next, which one you're going to play after that. And keep in mind, if you really don't like alts, you can just grab a character that you think looks really awesome and just leave them in town. You don't have to really do much with them at all. So certain alts, you know, if you wanted to have like a gatherer guy who's like out there and just gathers the materials and does all the farming stuff, you probably would want to level up that character. But overall, I mean, if it's just your crafter, you can have him in town. You don't have to worry about leveling up at all. It'll just be this extra character you have. Or just keep making the same class over and over again and you have just carbon copies of them everywhere. And that's also a possibility. That'll be fun. That'll be kind of hilarious, like you have your own clone army. Tip number 8, you can reset your knowledge like I was talking about at the capital city, and that really the library that's on the top of the steps is really fun actually running up there. But you don't need to do this early on. That's for more of like those level 50 to level 60 grinding spots. You don't need to keep going back there and resetting your imp's knowledge. It's not important. So don't worry about that early on. You want to focus on just killing mobs, doing some quests, progressing through the game, and not until you get to those really like those high level grinding spots that you can Google up. Is like, what are the grinding spots of Black Desert Online? And those are really the knowledge of the mobs that you want to reset. Because you want to get better drops and more damage. You're gonna be there for a while, especially from level 55 on. So don't do it early on. You want to save it for later. You really want to focus just on questing and stuff. Don't worry about grinding spots over and over. Kind of like you'll progress through the game relatively evenly throughout it. Tip number 9, if you want to do crafting, make sure to find out what you want to craft and what those materials are. And you want to start it early. So you want to get some workers mining those resources for you right in the background as you're out questing. Because there's some of the stuff, like a fishing boat, requires a lot of materials for you to get. And so if you have a worker just constantly, doing them as you progress, by the time you get to level 50, you're going to have plenty of materials and you're going to be able to get that fishing boat. And it's not going to feel like, oh my God, it took so long. You've already been doing it throughout your leveling process. And so you'll be good to go. I really do recommend you do this, because if you wait all the way to level 50 to do it all, it's going to be really overwhelming and you're going to feel super frustrated. So I really do recommend you see what you want to craft, what you want to make, get some workers working on them early, and you're going to have a much better time with it. And there's some materials that workers cannot mine for you, and that's going to be stuff like crude stones that you get off of mining like any kind of ore or something. You'll get it along the lines. It'll be kind of like the basic material. And the thing with like lumber, it's going to be those just basic logs, and you're going to be needing those as well. So what I recommend is that as you are questing out there, you see a tree or something, you start chopping them down, start collecting whatever those base materials that you need that your workers can't get. So when you finally do get to the point of you wanting to craft the stuff up, you already have all that basic material and you don't have to go out later and do it separately. When I was doing my fishing boat, I actually had to go out and just still chop down like 250 trees just to get enough logs that I can make the fishing boat with, in addition to the 2,500 silver birch tree logs that my workers got for me. So it's a lot of materials, and if you do them throughout your course of your grinding, questing process, and by the end of it you already had that plan in mind, you're gonna have a lot better time when you get to a point and you're like, okay, now I want to, get my fishing boat, go explore different islands. You're going to be ready to go, and you're not going to have any of that crazy downtime between it. You're going to be questing, and you're going to be questing smart. So you want to get those contribution points up from questing just so you can buy enough of the houses, lodging, workshops. You can look up some guides onto how all of that works. and you just want to make sure you have enough energy and enough contribution points. That means taking your time, doing the quest, talking to NPCs, and exploring different areas. So you want to collect them enough. And the Black Spirit also has quests like 100 energy, 100 contribution points, 140 contribution points, 140 energy. So you want to be getting those up early. You don't want to just rush to the end of the game. And number 10 seems like kind of obvious. You want to make sure you're on the right server with your friends or your guild. They added a third server in each region, so you want to make sure that your guild and your friends are still going to be on the same server. And the way that Dom has been doing their business practices and their cash shop stuff, and really like determined to keep it same as free to play, even though it's buy to play, server transfers look like they're going to be something that's not going to be cheap. So you want to make sure that you're on the same server as your friends. And also, if you want to be trying out different classes, try those different classes out on another server if you feel like it, in order to save your character slots and not have to wait for like that 24-hour delete. I'm not sure if it's still there. I'll make sure to correct anything that turns out to be wrong in this after I get my hands on the game tomorrow. So take your time, guys. Have fun, quest, explore the world. It's vast and full of wonders. It's a really great looking game, and just play it smart, because we don't know what this publisher is going to be doing and what their focus is and if they're going to kill this game off. But something they can't destroy is something that they made hard-coded into the game. It's the aesthetic, the feel, the combat, the environment, the NPCs. So enjoy the game. Don't rush through it. We don't know how long this game is going to last. I want it to last a long time, but just like enjoy it now and where it is. Take your time with it. Hopefully they'll listen to all our concerns, and they'll make the game last longer than 1 month. Anything I missed in some starting tips, maybe some late game tips, some PvP tips, end game tips, I don't really know any of that stuff yet. Leave a comment below with those tips. I'll be playing the North America servers on Eden, Eden, unless all the channels are full and crowded and there's like a queue time where I just can't get in, and then I'll go Orwin, and then if that one's like for some reason full, crazy, can't get in, then I'll go on Uno. And then so like, dislike, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on Black Desert Online. Come on, look at these teeth.